You ever get that smell in your car, The one that just won't go away?
Oh, yeah.
Like you've tried like everything. Air fresheners, baking soda, even like those little trees. Nothing.
Nope.
Well, today we're going to dive deep into something you might not have thought of. Ozone machines.
Okay.
We've got these articles here all about how ozone machines actually like destroy odors, not just cover them up.
Interesting.
But before we get into all that, maybe we should like talk about why those the old methods don't really work. Like air fresheners and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So with air fresheners, you're really just kind of masking the problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just adding a new scent on top of the old one.
It's like trying to cover up like burnt popcorn with like lavender.
Yeah, exactly. It just creates a weird mix.
Right. So what about baking soda? Like doesn't that absorb smells?
It can to some extent,
Yeah.
but it's not a miracle worker.
Right.
It takes time. You got to reapply it, and it might not even reach those like deep down smells,
Yeah.
like in your upholstery or carpets.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And what about vinegar? Everyone always talks about vinegar.
Yeah, vinegar is acidic, so it can neutralize some odors,
Uh-huh.
but but
Mm-hmm.
it can also leave behind a pretty strong vinegar smell.
Oh, yeah. Which is like not much better.
Right, exactly. You're just trading one smell for another.
So we've pretty much established that the traditional stuff has its limits, right?
Yeah.
And this is where things get interesting. One of our sources mentions rental car companies
Oh, right.
and how they're like constantly dealing with, well, let's just say fragrant customers.
Oh, yeah, the ones who ignore the no smoking signs.
Right, exactly. And cigarette smoke, it's like notoriously hard to get rid of.
Yeah, it is. And it seems like even a big fine doesn't always deter some smokers.
No, it doesn't. And that smell, I mean, it can totally ruin the experience for the next person who rents the car, right?
Yeah, totally. Plus, it can cost the rental company a lot of money if they have to, like, take the car out of service to clean it.
Yeah, for sure. So, how are they dealing with it? What are they doing about it?
Well, some rental companies are turning to ozone machines.
Really?
Yeah, they're powerful enough to neutralize even those really tough odors, like cigarette smoke.
Wow. So they're like saving them time and money.
Exactly.
That's impressive. So if ozone can handle like cigarette smoke, it must be pretty amazing.
It is.
But how does it work? What even is ozone?
So ozone is a molecule made up of 3 oxygen atoms.
Okay.
You can think of it as like a supercharged oxygen molecule,
Okay.
and it's a really powerful oxidizer.
Oxidizer.
Yeah, it means it can break down the chemical bonds of odor-causing molecules. It actually destroys them.
So it's not just like masking the smell, it's actually getting rid of it, like for good.
Exactly. Not just covering it up, actually eliminating it.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part is, after the ozone's done its job, it turns back into oxygen.
Oh, wow. So no residue or anything.
Nope, nothing left behind.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this could be like a total game changer. But how does it actually like get into every part of your car?
You put an ozone machine inside your car, and it releases ozone gas. And that gas can get into like every little nook and cranny,
Right.
places that sprays and powders can't reach, like your air vents, deep into your seats and carpets, even those little crevices that are hard to get to.
Yeah.
It gets in there.
It's like sending in a microscopic cleaning crew.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
So, if it's so good at getting rid of odor molecules, why do rental companies even bother with no smoking rules and fines? Couldn't they just ozone every car?
That's a good question. Ozone is effective, but it's not like magic.
Right.
Depends on like how strong the odor is, the types of materials in the car, how long it's been there.
Mhm.
Sometimes you might need multiple treatments, and there's still a chance that some of the odor might linger,
Mm.
especially in older cars.
So it's not like a foolproof solution every time.
Not always. It's important to have realistic expectations. Ozone's a great tool, but it's not a substitute for, basic cleanliness and respecting the vehicle.
Right.
Those no smoking policies, they're still there for a reason. Prevention's always better than a cure.
That makes sense. But for like everyday odors, it sounds like ozone machines could be a pretty amazing solution.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've tried everything else and you're still struggling with odors, it's definitely something to consider.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially good for those organic odors like pet smells, spilled food, even mildew.
And I bet it's good for people with allergies or who are like sensitive to fragrances. You're not adding anything new. You're just getting rid of what's already there.
Yeah, that's a good point. And because ozone breaks things down at a molecular level, it can be really effective against specific types of odors.
Okay.
Like, it's really good at getting rid of smoke smells because it actually breaks down those tar and nicotine molecules.
Okay, yeah. I gotta admit, when I first heard about ozone machines, I was a little skeptical.
Yeah.
It sounded like a little too good to be true.
Right.
But the science seems to back it up.
It does. It does. But before we all run out and buy ozone machines, we should probably talk about safety a little bit.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We've mentioned that ozone is a powerful oxidizer, and it's not something you want to be breathing in directly.
Yeah, good point. Like any powerful tool, you gotta know how to use it right.
Exactly.
So what are some key things to keep in mind when using an ozone machine in your car?
The most important thing is to never run the machine while you're in the car.
Okay.
People and pets should never be inside during the treatment. You set it up, let it run, and then make sure to air out the car really well before you get back in.
Okay, so ventilation is really important.
Yeah, super important. Open all the doors and windows after the treatment to let the ozone dissipate. You should also avoid sitting in the car right after the treatment. Give it at least 30 minutes to an hour for the ozone to fully break down.
And of course, always follow the instructions that come with your specific machine, right?
Absolutely. Those will have specific guidelines on, like, treatment times and safety precautions. Don't just wing it. Read the manual.
Right, safety first.
Exactly.
So we've talked about how ozone machines work, how effective they are against different odors, and how to use them safely. But let's get into the practical side of things. What should people be looking for when they're actually choosing an ozone machine? I mean, there are so many options out there.
That's a great question, and it's something we'll definitely dive into in our next segment.
Okay.
We'll talk about the different types of machines available, features to consider, and how to choose the right one for your needs and your budget.
Awesome. Can't wait. All right, so we're back and ready to get into this whole world of ozone machines.
Yeah.
We've talked about how good they are for those tough odors.
Right.
And like you said, there are a ton of different kinds out there. Where do we even start?
Well, you're right. It can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll break it all down.
Okay.
The first thing to think about is the size of your car.
Okay.
Like, a small ozone machine might be fine for a compact car, but if you have a big SUV or a van,
Right.
you'll need something a lot stronger to really treat all that space.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, you wouldn't use like a garden hose to put out a forest fire.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, size definitely matters.
So we've got size, and then what about how they actually make the ozone?
Yeah, good point.
Is there a difference there?
Yeah, there are actually a couple of different ways ozone machines do their thing.
Okay.
Some use what's called corona discharge.
Corona discharge.
Yeah, it's basically like a tiny little lightning bolt inside the machine.
Oh, wow.
Others use UV light to create ozone.
Okay.
Both work, but the corona discharge ones tend to be more powerful.
Okay, so we got size, we got how they make the ozone. What else? What other features?
Let's see. Well, one that I always recommend is a built-in timer.
Okay.
So you can just set it and forget it. You know? You don't have to worry about leaving it on for too long.
Right. That's a good safety feature for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of safety, have you seen the ones where you can start them remotely?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So you don't have to be inside the car while it's running.
Right.
Yeah, some of them have this thing called a hold function.
Okay.
You could basically put it in the car, close the doors, and then turn it on from outside.
Oh, wow. So you could use a remote or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like a remote. Or even some of them have smartphone apps now.
Oh, that's so cool. Safety first, right?
Always. And then another cool thing is that some machines have different output settings.
Okay.
So you can adjust how much ozone it's putting out,
Okay.
depending on how bad the smell is.
Gotcha.
If it's just a little musty, you can use the lower setting. But if it's cigarette smoke, you might need to crank it up.
Right. So it's having different levels of cleaning power.
Exactly. And, these things are an investment.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you get one that's going to last.
Right.
So look for ones that have a sturdy housing and good quality parts.
Okay.
And always check the reviews. See what other people are saying.
Good idea. It's interesting. We were talking about how rental car companies use these machines to get rid of smoke smells.
Right.
But there's this whole other industry that uses ozone a lot too, and that's hotels.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They have to deal with all kinds of smells,
Oh, yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Spilled food and drinks, and sometimes people leave behind more than just memories.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so hotels use ozone generators a lot to freshen up rooms between guests.
Yeah, especially the ones that allow smoking or pets,
Yeah.
it really helps them keep things clean and smelling good without having to use all those harsh chemicals or strong perfumes.
Right. So ozone's kind of like a secret weapon in the hospitality
It
industry.
is.
And that makes me wonder, are there other ways people are using this ozone technology that we might not even know about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ozone is used for tons of stuff,
Oh, wow.
like purifying water,
Okay.
sanitizing medical equipment,
Wow.
even getting rid of mold in homes.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really powerful tool that can be used in lots of different ways.
So it's having a moment, huh?
It is. It is.
Okay, so for our listeners who are like ready to jump on this ozone train,
Yeah.
what's a good price range for a decent machine for your car?
Well, it really depends
Yeah.
on the size, the features, the brand.
Uh-huh.
You can find some basic ones for under $100,
Okay.
but the more powerful ones with all the bells and whistles,
Right.
those can cost you like 300 or more.
Wow. Okay, so there's something out there for everyone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And my advice is to always do your research, you know.
Yeah.
Read reviews, compare features before you buy.
Good advice.
And it's also a good idea to check out like online forums
Okay.
or social media groups for car detailing.
Ah.
People share a lot of good tips and recommendations there.
Yeah, you can learn from people who've actually used the machines.
Exactly, firsthand experience.
Okay, so we've covered the different types, features, price range.
Yeah,
But once you've got the machine, how do you actually use it?
right.
And like safely?
That's the next step. And we'll get into all the safety stuff and give you some practical tips on using it in your car right after this.
All right, so we've talked all about ozone machines, how they work, even shopped for one. But now what? Like, how do we actually use this thing?
Right, the actual using it part. And safety is key here. We've touched on it, but, you know, ozone, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah, we've learned that. So, like, break it down for us step by step. What do we do?
Okay, first, even before you plug the machine in, prep the car. Like, clean it out. Get rid of any trash, anything loose. Vacuum if you can.
Makes sense. So the ozone isn't wasting its energy on surface stuff, right?
Exactly. Give it a clean slate to work with. And think about where the smell's coming from. If there's a spill, clean that up first. Pet odor, maybe shampoo the area or use an enzyme cleaner, break down the gunk.
So it's all about like helping the ozone along. Do the obvious stuff, then let the ozone handle the rest.
Exactly. Then, once your car's prepped, set up the machine. Most go inside, but placement can vary. Check your instructions.
Right, and this is where that remote start comes in handy, right?
Yeah. Set it up, close the doors, get out of there, seal it all up, windows too, then activate it, remote or whatever, let it run the recommended time.
So it's doing its thing, breaking down those smells. Now what?
Patience. Don't go rushing back in. Ozone needs time to become oxygen again. Leave the car closed up, at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour.
No peeking.
Nope. After that, open everything up. Windows, doors, let fresh air in for a good 15-20 minutes before you even think about getting in.
So treat it like, I don't know, like a strong cleaner. Careful, follow instructions, let it do its job.
Exactly. And any doubts, check the manual, call a detailer, whatever.
Yeah.
Better safe than, well,
Right. Now, what about, I've heard people say ozone can damage stuff in your car. Is that true?
It's possible, but rare. It can fade or discolor some things, especially delicate fabrics or leather if you use it too much.
So, like, don't go crazy with it.
Right. Moderation. And if you're worried about a specific material, test it first on a small spot somewhere hidden.
Good tip. And what if you do the ozone, but the smell's still there?
Try again. Some odors are stubborn, really deep in the material, might take a few treatments.
So it's not always a one-time fix, huh?
Not always. And if all else fails, there's always professional detailing. They've got stronger machines, special techniques.
Right. Well, hey, we went from defeated by car smells to feeling like we can actually do something. Ozone machines, they're safe, they work, and they're pretty versatile.
Totally agree. It's cool tech. Lots of uses. And for car owners, battling those tough smells could be a real game changer.
So if you're tired of that funky car, ditch the air fresheners, give ozone a shot, do your research, find the right machine, and get ready to breathe easy again. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into ozone. See you next time.